But it was a beautiful time. But what happened is, while I was there in Veeralam, we experienced extreme poverty. So I'm like an old man in the trading industry. But it's so interesting because I've seen the trading industry evolve in so many different ways, right? So let me give you some background. So I originally live and was born and brought up in Veeralam.
Okay.
So that's where I come from. That's my hood. I lived in a place called Shannon's Park, a road called Teakwood Crescent, number 16 Teakwood Crescent. That's where I lived for almost my whole life, right? And that's what we grew up with. We grew up in the hood. We played soccer and cricket on the road. With those little bread crates. Bread crates, bread cricket. And then, when it was the time for fireworks, buy all those small ones, pop-ups, tom-toms, black spiders.
We all had an experience. Huh?
So, you know what, it was a beautiful time. But what happened is, while I was there in Veeralam, we experienced extreme poverty. My dad was a pastor, and the church was small, couldn't pay him a proper salary. So we really struggled, throughout life. For example, I never had my own bedroom. We lived in Veeralam until the age of 20 years or 21 years. And I never owned my own bedroom. Slept on the floor, lounged there on the floor every single night. My mom would make my bed there in the lounge. I would sleep there, wake up in the morning, go to school. But look, when I reached grade 10, right? So my life was in Veeralam, just living by, seeing my neighbors progress, my neighbors buying cars. I always saw those things, and I wanted those things too. And I remember I used to cry. I actually used to go to my dad and I used to cry. I used to say to my dad and ask him, when are we going to buy a new car? And because you live in the hood, everything is a big thing. So I would go to my dad, and sometimes, my dad, I think he would just tell me, son, one day we'll do it, one day we'll achieve it, things like that.